Welcome to this week's episode of GunWriterTV, along with my co-host Lee Williams. How's it going down there?
Good, brother.
We got Scott Quick and Chris Magnet in here, the boys from Quick Draw Pawn, Quick Draw Defense. They're going to be talking about their machine gun shoot coming up. I'm excited about that. What kind of guns are we going to shoot there?
We got all kinds of guns, don't we? We just added a whole bunch.
Yeah, we got a bunch of M16s this year, some Soviet AK-47s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy,
represented.
gotta
What
make
else
Lee
we just
happy.
get back
We
from
got
Taylor?
Skinny's favorite gun. What's that? That's that little thing, the bullpup thing that you
Little
like?
P90?
Little P90, fully
Yeah,
automatic.
I like that.
Uzis, MAC-10s, MP5s. We got a Sterling submachine gun that Chris built from scratch.
Love that gun, my favorite one.
Belt-fed 1919.
Glocks?
Full auto Glocks.
And the
Water Glocks.
1919 is in 308?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And last year we only had 2 M16s, so we kind of bumped it up so that more people can go and play. And they're different variants. So one's going to be like an 18-inch SPR variant. We have one that's full auto 300 blackout suppressed. We have a couple of them.
A 10-inch, a 12-inch. So, and we move them around so people can see different optics, different platforms, different rounds, and so they can try different ones.
And
Did we mention we have a belt fed?
as far as the Lord of War is concerned, you've got one that's pretty stock with wood, but you've got one that's tricked out, too.
Oh, yeah.
What's that one all about?
We actually went to SHOT Show last year and spoke to the people at Midwest Industries, and they only make a certain amount of the rails that go on the front end. And at the end of the year, they gave us the one off the rack.
That one is rock solid.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've never liked the rail on the front. I like the regular Soviet style slide on, but that thing is rock solid. You put an optic on there, no problem.
Oh yeah, you cannot. It doesn't move at all. It's
No.
wonderful.
Give me the where, when, and who, and how much.
We're going to be at Manatee Gun and Archery at Area 51. It'll be $150 per shooter. Now we don't profit off this, so what this is going to cover is, all right. Let's go back. How we did this was we took a total cost of the whole shoot and we divided that by the number of people we could bring to keep it at a reasonable rate. So the 150 will pay for your part of the range fee, the insurance to cover the shoot, everything but the ammo. You know, the caterer,
Food,
t-shirts,
Good
DJ.
times,
DJ.
Oh, yeah.
giveaways,
comradeship.
raffles.
And we're having a gun show at the same time.
I think that's important to point out. You guys, machine gun shoots are not a big money maker.
We don't make a dollar.
This is something you're doing for us,
Right.
for the shooters to come out and shoot machine guns,
Right.
which I think is very cool, and that's something that should be supported by everybody in the industry. Okay, machine gun shoot, and there's something else that's going to be out there, and I think this is as cool. You're going to have a hell of a gun show going on.
First one.
Yeah, and who's all going to be there?
We want all the local shops that we do a lot of business with. Skinny from Young Guns Fire and Safety is going to be out there. Our friends over at Fully Loaded, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, who does some of the best Cerakote work around.
Best I've
We've had
seen.
them on here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. AccuBeam will be out there. There are laser engraver. Mike McGowan from Veritas Training, who's one of the best trainers in the area. Who else can
My
be out
brother
there?
from another
Andrew
mother.
Corp Industries is going to be there.
And they make
every kind of AR part you can. All right, my Mark 12.
Yeah.
Some of our custom machine guns. Everybody thinks are so cool. That's all ACI.
Josh is great.
Yeah, Josh, we work a lot with him.
Cool.
We have a couple upcoming projects to do with him. So
which we'll be hearing about later.
You'll be hearing about later. Yeah, there's a few things to announce, but who else is going to be coming? The Well Armed Woman is going to be coming,
HBC.
right? HBC. Adams was tossing around sending somebody to come check it out. Superlative Arms will be sending a table of people to represent their new gas piston systems.
So not only do you get to shoot cool machine guns, you get to support your local dealers, your local businesses, your
Right.
local parts makers, which I think is hugely important, especially nowadays. So the shoot is designed for future or current machine gun owners. Tell me a little bit about, and for anybody else who wants to have a hell of a good time, but tell me a little bit about, I want to come in and buy a machine gun. What's the process I got to go through?
All right. Well, you can't buy a new one. I hate to
Okay.
say you either.
Nope.
In 1986, there was a rule that got passed that said that no individuals may manufacture new machine guns, only for SOT-2s and dealers to make for demonstration purposes. They can stockpile weapons for a time of war, or kind of like what me and Scott do. I mean, we know you guys can't afford these $100,000 machine guns, so we take you out to let you shoot them so you don't have to waste all that money to go buy one. With the licenses that we hold, we can actually make them, break them, keep doing it. And that gives the average guy the opportunity to do it.
And that's the SOC 2?
That's the SOC 2. Now,
Okay.
say you came in as a regular citizen and you wanted to buy a machine gun. You're perfectly allowed to do that. There's about roughly between 400,000 and 500,000 transferable machine guns in the United States of America today. How can I put that into perspective? Imagine that everybody in the country is homeless, and there's 400,000 homes. Out of those homes, the prices for those homes are going to be astronomical. They're going to increase every year, right?
It's not a free market.
Well, that also brings up another part about machine guns as an investment purpose. They're going to increase almost 20% a year.
So if I bought a Colt in the 80s,
for about $900, we sold one for about 22 grand last month.
geez, show me a stock or a bond that's going to do that well.
Unfired, yeah. People buy these things. In fact, a lot of people that you don't think are gun people will come in, buy machine guns, and leave them at the shop just so that they can accumulate value. And
Investment quality.
investment quality. Yeah.
Now, in addition to full auto, you're going to have suppressed weapons, which I got to say are probably more in my price range and more in the price range of everybody there. Similar process to acquire a silencer,
Exactly the same, but things may change. There's a couple of
God willing.
yeah, there's a couple of things before the rule makers right now this year. The first one is ATF 41P. ATF 41P is designed to make buying NFA items what we would consider tougher, but what other people consider as necessary measures. So if ATF 41P goes through, we will most likely be required to add a passport photo and fingerprints in a special application process to transfer the items. Now, don't get all worried about that because there's another thing called the Hearing Protection Act. If the Hearing Protection Act comes through, that's going to effectively remove silencers from the NFA registry. And yes, I say silencer. Suppressor is military nomenclature. So we can have that argument later. But
I could walk in and conceivably go through the same process to buy a can, which I would to buy a handgun.
right. Yeah,
And
so-
then leave with it the same day or maybe a waiting period. We don't know yet.
right. Yeah.
But
so-
it's not going to be a 6 month to a year.
No. So the way the process works now is say I have an M16 and a silencer sitting in the case for sale, transferable, right? He can come in, right, as long as he has an NFA firearms trust, and he can buy that. Well, certain legal entities, not just a firearms trust, but we recommend a firearms trust that's just for your guns. He'd come in, give me a bunch of money, all right, and then I'll give him a piece of paper saying that that's his, and then about 4 to 6 months later, you come in and pick it up. The transfer is exactly the same.
I can understand that for something full auto. For a suppressor or silencer, that's a waste of time.
reason for it.
And I'm sure ATF, if you talk to the line guys, they really don't want to regulate silencers anymore either. It's a lot of work. Tell me about some of the entry level full auto. What are some of the cheaper models that a guy can get into? Your first machine gun purchaser can get what?
Just watch all your favorite movies from the 80s.
Really?
The MAC-10s, the Uzis,
What are they running?
Tech 9s, things like that. Well, the Intratechs you can get for close to 8,000-9,000.
Don't want one of those.
Mac 10's only about 5,000. And then you keep going up. Uzis $10,000 to $12,000 price range. ARs from $12,000 to $22,000 price range, and sky's the limit.
Lord of War.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, the Lord of War gun will be about 19 grand.
Yeah. Yep.
And what about kits? I see there's DWAT or DMILD, whatever you want to call it, kits.
So there's a lot of misconception out there. I answer this question a lot is whether or not you can go on Apex or one of the gun companies and buy a Sterling parts kit or an AK part kit and make your own machine gun. No, can't do that.
Let's go to jail time.
That's go to jail time. So back in '86, right, when they started to take all these things apart, if an actual machine gun was taken apart and registered as a DWAT, right, DEWATT, you can look it up. There's a whole lot of information on them. If it was registered as a DWAT, there's paperwork to do with that. It's transferred much like a machine gun. And if you find a DWAT, most of them are in Europe. If you find one and buy one and get it, excuse me, back into the States, you can form one and make a new machine gun. It's just finding those is harder than finding a machine gun.
So buy a machine gun.
Yeah, buy a
And I'm making so many trips to Europe anyway.
Well, I mean, think about it like this. Think about this. If you had 15 grand right now, liquid, right? You could give me 15 grand and I'm gonna find you a machine gun. Like an AR-15 type rifle. Like we'll call it an M16 for the lack of the vernacular. When we have that rifle, you give me 12, 15 grand. In 5, 10, 15 years, you can send your kids to college off the profit.
That's hard to overlook, man. The investment quality aspects of these is just unbelievable.
As we learned this past week on Fox News, how does a bullet button make a gun go full auto?
All right, so so California.
I need one of those.
California have these crazy restrictions. We all know that, right? We can get a good laugh out of it, right?
Yeah.
All a bullet button does is, on the side of your AR where that button is that you drop the mag out, that's permanent. That does not move. You actually have to take the little mag pull fake bullet that they give you,
Or
right?
a real bullet.
Or a real bullet, and you stick the tip inside, and that effectively manipulates the magazine. So when they tell you that they dropped a bullet button gun out of it and it made it full auto, that's false.
Yeah.
There is ways to make guns full auto, right? Which we don't really talk about, but the little bit I can tell you is that there's drilling, there's milling, and there's a couple different processes involved to get an M16 to go full auto. Now, another thing we didn't bring up was drop-in auto sears, right? Drop-in auto
Right.
sears or a
Right.
lightning link. those will cost you just as much as a machine gun.
And they are registered as
a machine gun, right?
Okay.
And all it is a little piece of metal like this, or what you would consider a drop-in black range trigger, right? That's a drop-in auto sear, and all it does is it interrupts the disconnector so you can keep on firing. So
It just registers an auto sear instead of a lower.
right, yeah. So it'll actually be transferred as a machine gun. So you would buy it as a machine gun, transferred on a Form 4, and you'd wait and.
weren't those sold commercially years ago?
Oh yeah, Fleming did a lot of them. Fleming did a lot of them.
And if you're in possession of one of those right now, you are in possession of a
Illegal machine gun, which is punishable by 10 years in prison and $250,000
It's not worth it.
no.
The ATF, they aren't bad people, all right? It's just you need to pay attention to current events. So say there's another legislation case, whatever you want to call it. I think it used to be called Hollis versus Heller, but the Attorney General's name changes all the time, right? So what that was a guy tried to form one at brand new machine gun when the ATF said, hey, you know, trusts are not individuals, okay? The law states that individuals cannot manufacture new machine guns. So when the ATF said that a trust is not an individual, a gentleman filed a Form 1 to make a new machine gun, and it was approved, and then declined and rescinded. So he filed suit against them. It went before a Democratic judge, a federal judge. She ruled that it violated the Second Amendment, but refused to do ruling on it. So she passed it up to a higher court. It's now sitting up there. Now, how does this play into what we were just talking about? If that ruling goes through, where they make sure that citizens can now manufacture new machine guns, ATF gives you a grace period, right? So all of a sudden, we're going to be allowed to make them. You best believe they're going to try and make a rules that you can't, right?
Yeah.
So if they make a rule, they're going to say, okay, you now have 30 days to register any machine gun you have, right? So back in '86, in April 16th of '86, they came out and they were like, you have 30 days to get all your machine guns.
An amnesty.
Yeah, an amnesty
yeah.
period, right. So if you miss that, I mean,
You're done.
that's a big penalty.
Any talk now of another amnesty? I know we could use one. Have you heard anything about ATF offering another
They
one?
will. ATF is the most tight-lipped group. I personally feel that ATF 41P has taken so long because we had the 10, 11,000 comments that had to be responded to in writing.
Yes.
And also, I just don't think they know what to do.
Right.
If you ask me personally, and a lot of you guys aren't going to agree with me, but suppressors should be over the counter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You should not be able to get a machine gun for a $200 transfer, in my opinion. All right? It should be $500. You have $5 for an AOW. I'm going to catch flack for this, I know. But you should have $5 for an
I agree with
AOW,
you. I agree with you.
$200 for suppressors, and $500 for a machine gun. What does that effectively do? Well, being that no machine gun that's been legally transferred has ever been used in a crime,
Yeah.
right? It's just going to make rich people spending money on machine guns less rich. The guns that are being used in crimes are illegal. It's
Yeah.
just like these
Yep.
whatever people out in California, don't want to say they claimed a certain whatever, but
Terrorists.
if they're going to go and they're going to make guns, you can do that in your backyard. There's laws against that, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it happened. There's laws against it.
We need a law. Need more laws. No, we don't.
No, we don't. I don't know.
Guys, I wish you best of luck at the shoot. I will be out there.
What's
Mike
the
will be
date
out there.
again?
December 13th.
This Sunday.
This
This
Sunday,
Sunday,
what
yeah.
time?
Second annual Pearl Harbor shoot.
Some of the best
What
barbecue
time?
you'll ever
10 to
have.
3.
10 to 3 out of
Show up at 9
Mayaca?
o'clock for a sign up.
These guys are putting a lot out there and not making much on it. So we need to support that. We need to support our local businesses.
You
So
got any slots left?
hope to
Yeah,
see
we
you
got
there.
a few left. Come shoot some machine guns. It costs you $150. You get to play with silencers. You'll get to see all the local businesses. So
How do
come
they
out and have a good time.
Skinny's going to be
How
there.
do they sign up?
Basically, give us a shout at 941-484-2656. You can stop by Young Guns, Skinny's to sign up as well.
You can find me on Facebook.
Yep, find either of us or just go to our Facebook page, Quick Draw Defense.
God bless, long live the Republic, and keep your powder dry. Pew, pew, pew.
Thanks, brother.
Silence the noise. Thank you very much.